Good afternoon and welcome to the channel. This video isn't the one I was meant to publish this afternoon, but there was a topic that I was going to avoid, but I decided that I can do a video on it and I'll tread some middle ground and I'll just quote facts. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having personal opinion, but this is such a divisive topic that amongst the Man United fan base that, you know, we'll tread some middle ground. So obviously, I mean, if you've no idea of what I'm going to talk about, it's Mason Greenwood. So obviously Mason Greenwood was arrested. We all heard the audio clip. We all assumed at that time, wow, that audio clip means he must be guilty. And since the case was dropped against him. So if you're not familiar with what was said by the Crown Prosecution Service, who had initially decided to charge him, so that meant that they thought they had enough evidence to potentially win a case in court in front of a jury. So, but unfortunately, when they decided that to drop the case, this is what they said. We have a duty to keep cases under continuous review. In this case, a combination of the withdrawal of key witnesses, and this is the crucial part, this next sentence, and new material that came to light meant that there was no longer a realistic prospect of conviction. In these circumstances, we are under duty to stop the case. So what does "and new material came to light" mean? So basically, when they decided to charge Mason Greenwood, they had whatever evidence they gathered. The police would have gathered whatever evidence they could. It would have had to met stringent guidelines. We won't go into what they are. This is a football channel, so I'll try and be brief about this. So the police would have gathered what evidence they could. It would have had to have met certain stringent guidelines for the Crown Prosecution Service to decide whether to charge Mason Greenwood or not. So obviously that initial evidence passed those thresholds and the Crown Prosecution Service decided to charge him. But new material came to light, which meant that obviously all of that previous material wasn't enough for the Crown Prosecution Service to think it was worthy to send to court, the case was worthy to send to court and win a realistic chance of conviction. So basically what they meant was they thought they couldn't win, that they thought that a jury may more likely find Mason Greenwood innocent of the charges laid upon him. So that isn't my opinion, that is kind of the facts, but without full detail. They go on to, the Crown Prosecution Service went on to say, "We are explaining our decision to all parties. We'd always encourage any potential victims to come forward and report to police, and we will prosecute wherever our legal test is met." That is the thresholds I was talking about. So they had legal tests to meet. So Greenwood was due to go to trial in November this year after being charged. The charges were attempted rape, assault and repeatedly engaging in coercive and controlling behaviour. So they must have had some form of evidence of that and then decided that once this new material came to light that they just couldn't make that work in court. Back to more footballing issues, Mason Greenwood has told Manchester United that he wants to return to playing for them as soon as possible. He is currently subject to an internal investigation though by the club and is neither training nor playing for the team. Greenwood was suspended after charges of attempted rape, controlling and coercive behaviour, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. So that's, again, the more technical nature of the what he was charged with. So they were dropped in February, and now United have responded by stating that they've got an investigation underway, and it won't be completed until the end of the season. So that means Greenwood is at the club still at the moment. So right now he's still on 70k a week. He's been on 70k a week for all the way through this, the 18 months or so that this has been going on for. And he still has a reasonable amount of time left on his contract. And his contract value is £8 million. Although he's not going to return to training this until the end of that investigation. And following talks, that's been agreed to with Mason Greenwood, his representatives and the club, after extensive talks with officials. However, whether he'll stay at the club or not long term, it appears that Manchester United are split on that. I'm not talking about the playing side, the team. By all accounts, this is more managerial and sponsorship kind of level. There's some debate about what can they do. I mean, legally, his contract is viable and legal. He's been found guilty of nothing. But basically it means that he'll stay at the club until Manchester United make a decision. However, I mean, Greenwood lost sponsors Nike and Cadbury following the charges, and was removed from the EA Sports popular FIFA game. So FIFA, the latest FIFA game, he's not in that. I don't think he was in the previous one either. And so from the Man United megastore and everywhere else where Man United merchandise is sold, everything was ripped from the shelves. But he still has the number 11 squad number. Obviously that can't be given to anyone else. Well, I suppose it could be, but it hasn't been. So this is a really divisive topic, and I'm at pains to kind of tread the middle ground. I mean, should he play again for United or shouldn't he? Personally, if I were him, and if I truly loved United, I wouldn't put United through this. I mean, ultimately, if they allow him to see see the remainder of the season out and try and come to some arrangement with him to move him on, maybe. Because if you could imagine for United, or I was going to say, this is what I was going to say. Well, now I've had second thoughts about that. So United keep him, make a decision, decide to let him go, pay him off whatever, 8 million left on his contract, and he goes to, I don't know, say he goes to Turkey or goes to Italy. There have been players in the past who've been charged with similar things. Some players are still playing now, and are on bail. But maybe he should probably say go to Italy or Turkey, where he can play there. The fans don't really know who he is. Whereas here in the UK, what they say, tarred with the brush. So, but basically what that means is mud sticks. So again, what does that mean? That means once someone thinks of something about you, it generally sticks for a while, and it's going to take a long time for, whether true or not, for people to think differently about you. So maybe for his own mental health, he should leave Manchester United. And from a commercial or well, two things. Let's say moral point of view, maybe United should let him go. But then again, that could be morally for any club, you know, especially you British clubs. You know, if he stayed in the UK, where could he go? You know, without getting abuse from the crowd, and that club, whatever club he played for, coming under kind of, you know, stick from different areas of society. I personally don't know how Greenwood can stay in the UK. Not easily. I mean, unless he's really thick-skinned and he can just play his game, get back to where he was almost 2 years later. It basically will be, you know, if he plays next season, it'll be 2 years since all this started. So it's 2 years of his career he's missed. And what was once a possible generational talent may be no more. I don't know. Share your thoughts in the comments. You know, feel free to like the video and tell me what you think. I mean, from a commercial point of view, Manchester United could lose sponsors. It could have an impact on the share price. You know, the Glazers are all about money, so do they want to kind of tarnish, you know, and additionally tarnish then their cash cow? I can't see why they would. Which is why I think ultimately Greenwood will move on, and then for his own peace of mind, he potentially plays somewhere else. I mean, he's a young lad, a very wealthy young lad, and let's say they pay his contract off of 8 million and he's been earning 70k and X amount for years before, and he's a very wealthy man, young man, who needs someone to take him under his wing and give him right advice. He's a young boy, and anybody who writes someone off for the rest of their life based on potential mistakes that he may have made, well, that's just wrong. And that's all I've really got to say about that. So now let's move on. Let's talk about, you know, an extra piece of information that's come out today. So Luke Shaw has agreed a new 4-year contract with United as a reward for his impressive season, with the fullback's growing maturity and presence making him a key player under Erik ten Hag. So he signed for United in 2014. So basically means he'll have been with the club partway, a year or so into this new contract. He'll have been with the club for over 10 years. I mean, how time flies. I remember when he joined the club from Southampton, and he has had his ups and downs, but I personally like the player. I like him when he play. I think sometimes he might have confidence issues watching him play, but I mean, when he's on his game, I mean, usually it's like he might have a bit of a slump playing for United. He'll go away and play for England. He'll come back and he can continue that England form in a United shirt. So yeah, he's 27 years old, and like I mentioned, he's been with the club since 2014. So The Athletic reports that talks between Shaw and the owners have been productive, with the defender now set to remain at the club. Well, that's a bit repetitive, I know. His previous deal was set to expire next year, but the club had already triggered a 1-year option on his contract in December. So really they were due to have contract talks earlier. Shaw has had an impressive first season under Erik ten Hag. He's played 35 games, scoring once and getting 6 assists. Now, I don't think scoring's part of his game, so I don't judge him based on that. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a left back. So, and a potential kind of stand-in centre-back. So I don't care about him scoring goals. although over the last few years he has matured, and his presence in the squad has made him a critical part of United's team, and I think he played a big part in the win of the Carabao Cup trophy. And I think he is. So we've got, say, De Gea, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Fernandes, and Rashford. So 6 strong core players in the side, which Shaw is definitely one of them for me. I think if he left and we relied on Malacia alone, with, I don't know, Brandon Williams as a kind of a backup, we'd struggle. He's a bit of an ever-present Luke Shaw, and I do rate him, I must admit. Although, you know, Shaw is a bit of a he is a bit of a card merchant as he picks them up. So he's been sent off for 2 yellow cards. So he got 2 yellow cards in England. So this is England, sorry. Yeah, he got sent off for England and then suspended for that game. I just rate him, and there's no mention of what the value is, or if he's had a pay rise in his new contract. But Erik ten Hag obviously believes in him, and so do I. So let me know what you think. Do you think he deserved that extra contract, that extended contract? How much money do you think he's earning? Do you think he needs someone's better than Malacia to kind of push him on to the next level, or do you think Malacia is able to step up next season and really fight for that left back position? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please smash a like on the video, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.